What is going on, guys? I'm going to try to record a second video for the day. This one is going to be a little bit different. So for the last couple videos that I made for build videos, specifically the Nyax one and the Apocalypse one, I realized about halfway through, and many people commented that I couldn't swap back and forth because it wasn't swapping between screens. I came up with a workaround for that. I just downloaded a Notepad app in the same app that I use to play the game on my computer. But I've been working on a Helios build that has all of these, so this is going to be kind of a quick rundown. I believe you can go between both of these, so you should be able to go between these. I've been asked for the Helios a lot, and I should be able to swap back and forth to kind of pick things up. So I want to get into this as quickly as possible because I know these tend to be really long, and I'll try not to go down any side notes when I'm doing this. So like all of my build videos so far, this is not the best Helios build. This is a Helios build video. With any build that I make, or that you make, you should put the focus on something. Like, there should be a focus on something. You're not going to pick any carrier and immediately be able to kill everyone. So there's a focus for each individual carrier. Your first carrier in the game is probably going to be an all-rounder, and your second carrier in the game is going to be a backup that, in my recommendation, you should have that combats something that you're weak against. So, for example, if you're using the JFK or the Agaris or something, and you're getting destroyed by dodge carriers, well, you might want to use a Helios because you can use virtually the exact same equipment on a Helios, and then all of a sudden you can miraculously hit dodge carriers and you're going to get a lot more points, probably cover your weaknesses, and just be more effective for your team. So in order to make this video, I'm going to be going back and forth between both screens a lot because I don't have a Helios. So I'm going to go to the ultimate carriers, and then look up the Helios. I don't have one. I do have the missile for it. Did I pass it? I think I must have. Is Helios really not in? Wait. Oh my god. Okay. Alright, so if I'm going here, they actually don't have the special edition on here, but I believe it's just super precision fire. It's just like a more effective precise strike or precision fire. The key components of this: one, your defense is going to be really weak because there's no percentage defense, and you have full warships defense, which means that this number goes down the more warships you lose. And the Helios is not great at protecting them anyway, so you're going to be really frail no matter how you build this. In my opinion, that just means that you should build it as what it would be considered in most games a glass cannon build, which is just a fancy term that's used for you hit ridiculously hard, but you're made of glass, so you're going to just get one shot by pretty much everything, but your hope is to also one shot everything else. All right. The main components here are your non-negotiables, right? If you're using a Helios, you're going to have to, well, the whole point of it is to hit things. So you're really only going to be using it against dodge carriers, namely you're going to be using it against the Nyax, and you're going to be using it against the Lincoln. So the wording on these skills is important in this. If you look at overall Sunder, what Sunder does, it reduces the enemy carrier and warship defense, which is different than it's different than just increasing like your armor penetration. Like if you do damage and it goes through someone's armor, that's one thing, but this reduces their armor. So this actually happens before you even attack, just because of it's like think of it like an aura in a video game. It's like something that like emanates from the Helios. It's not something that when you hit them this happens. This is happening all the time. Why this is important is because for me using the Lincoln or someone using the Nyax, the deflector armor skill is based on the defense. Like in the Nyax video that I made, deflector armor skill is based on defense. So you're going to be putting as much defense as you possibly can onto a Nyax, onto a Lincoln. Then your dodge is calculated during the match based on how much defense you have. Well, this reduces your defense flat up, so you actually just end up with less dodge. To the point where if I'm fighting against someone that has a really well-built Helios, my dodge is almost 100% less before it even counts their accuracy into it. So it's really, really beneficial. And that's why actually the Guardian, believe it or not, is really good at taking down dodge carriers. And the Guardian's like a good all-rounder. I think it's probably the most underrated carrier in this game, but people are really bad at building it. So anyway, it's a really, really strong carrier. It has Sunder, it has overall blockade, and it has attack speed, which is like the three things that are really important for pretty much any build. But anyway, if you're building the Helios, things you're going to want to focus on: accuracy, because what's the point of building something to kill dodge if you can't hit it in the first place? More Sunder, right? More overall Sunder, or carrier Sunder, or something along those lines. Sorry if you can hear my cat meowing. And then you're going to kind of ignore defensive stuff on this build, specifically for mine. This is, like I said, not the only build. You can build however you want. But this is how I would build a Helios personally. So I'm going to go to my notepad. My non-negotiables are, well, hit things. So I'm going to make sure that I have Hawkeye, because I need to actually hit stuff. I need to do as much damage as possible because I'm not going to be able to take a hit. So I'm going to want stimulant. Probably precise strike chip, so I can actually crit, so I can do more damage. So, you know, something like this is already looking like an HMS Resolution or a U2A or a Type 96 sub. So those are some non-negotiables. You are probably going up, if you're fighting a Nyax or a Lincoln, you're probably going up against someone who has warship planes. They're not going to be doing a lot of damage for you. So believe it or not, I wouldn't even put barrier on this thing. I would just try to hit people and kill them as fast as possible. So some things that I'd like to also see on here: boost morale to make sure all of my damaging skills trigger. This is like full glass cannon. There's like no defense on this. This is all offensive stats, all offensive skills. So boost morale. You still do want Purify. The only reason is because if someone is running, like, it's really, really common for people to be running Puma or Black Shark, even if they're running a Warship build, to get the corrosion and sunder, because it helps your warships do more damage, and restrain is a really, really big factor. So you're still going to want to Purify chip probably on your carrier, but any of the other, you know, things on that list are probably fine. So mastery, this is an easier one because we're going glass cannon here. You're just going to want barrier mastery right off the bat, just to guard as many ships for one hit as possible to keep your defense high, and then you're going to probably die anyway. So it doesn't matter what mastery you pretty much use on here, you're going to get blown up. As always, right, I'd say barrier, but if you have the money for it, this is the best mastery type in the game. Make sure that you get them to, like precise combo, which is +2 on T6s or T7s, right? You're going to want +2 mastery on anything, because if you do make it and you do have ships left, you want to be able to still hit dodge stuff. If you're using a Helios, you're going to be able to hit things anyway, but it just gives you more attacks at that point. So this is probably my full list of non-negotiables. It's just all the damaging stuff that you possibly can have in the game. The reason boost morale is damaging is because it makes your damaging skills like biochemical missile and burn, if you're using like an ultra seal, it makes those trigger. It makes them more likely to trigger. Right? So you're going to want all of your buffs or your debuffs to make sure that they actually hit. For subs here, I personally, in order to get, I can knock off 2 of these for sure, and kind of protect myself. I think the best possible sub here is probably the Type 96, which is just, if I go back to my game, hopefully it didn't, yeah, sometimes it does that. See, when I swap back and forth, sometimes it does it, but hopefully it'll load pretty quick. I'll show you the Type 96 really fast, and then I'll go back to the notepad here. But Type 96 has Stimulant and Hawkeye in really, really high quantities, and it's, even if it's a 6-star, it's kind of an easy sub to get. So right off the bat, it's pretty simple there. Oh, actually, on Notepad, you really could use so you want Type 96, or this is even cheaper option. U2A also works. You get Hawkeye, Stimulant, and Charge. So U2A might even be a better option, but I like the Type 96 because it also gives you a little bit more defense. I believe I have one. Yeah, so this guy. EMV helps reduce their attack, so you might live another attack. Stimulant and Hawkeye, you're going to get that on your carrier and your first row of warships. But again, U2A, this is also Stimulant, Hawkeye. This is like the bare bones. This is all you need. Stimulant, Hawkeye, and Charge, so you get more attack speed, so that you can get your attack off before, hopefully before their first plane flies, because their first plane is probably going to be something defensive, so you'll get more warships if you attack first. So U2A is probably just as effective. For chips, so this knocks out Hawkeye and Stimulant. It's not a non-negotiable, but you can even add Charge to this list too. So it'll knock out the Charge if you use the U2A. If you don't use the Type 96, you're kind of giving up Charge, which is, no big deal. For chips, right off the bat, you just kind of fill in the gaps with the remainder of your non-negotiables. Precise Strike, Boost Morale, and Purify. Not Stroke. Okay, equipment. So this is the fun part. Equipment, plane, psionic zone, all that stuff. Oh, actually, I probably should add another category down here for UAV, so I'll do that. For equipment, you easily could just run a basic aircraft setup. The way that I would change this around, so I'll give you guys options here. I would either run an R-77 or an Imperial missile. So I'll do let's say the left half is the free version, the right half is the if you spend a little bit version. All right, so that's your missile. Your engine, I think forward attack is probably your best bet. It gives you carrier delay, which makes it even easier to hit, and it gives you more attack speed, counter attack speed. Forward attack engine, try to get that as high as possible. And all of these, get them as high of a color and high of a +1, +2, +3 as possible for all of these. And that's for forward attack is for both spending players and for free players. It's cheap, and it's probably the best option. Torpedo, use its own torpedo on it. It's really beneficial. Honorable mentions. Eisenhower is a really, really high, really high torpedo for Sunder. So Helios torpedo increases your accuracy. Eisenhower torpedo is going to reduce their dodge more. So it's kind of like you can do one or the other. Both of them work really well. The Helios torpedo actually gives you more damage too. So I like the Helios torpedo if you get a really, really high one. And you can get it totally for free. I actually have another video that I'm going to come out with that you saw a teaser for what was on my notepad in the beginning, but there's only like I think 9 or 10 things that are actually locked behind money in this game. Everything else you can get for free. It just takes time. So that's for your torpedo. For your Navar, you can do a couple options here. For the free players, you're probably just going to want to use any smart skin for the attack speed. But you're going to run into the issue of boost morale versus electronic countermeasure. A lot of players that run dodge, myself included, run the AGM plus undead smart skin combo, so you're going to basically have no boost morale. So all of your damaging skills, burn, biochemical missile, dispel, all of those things, you have a way reduced risk of actually, or reduced chance of hitting me or other dodge players. So you can run a smart skin, but you're probably going to want like smart skin / Jack Torpedo. That's not how you spell that. Torpedo. Or sorry, Jack Radar. For spenders, I don't even have this, but you can use that Aeolus Smart Skin. That thing is insane. And this is if you're attacking. If you're defending, right across the board, you probably want the Guardian Navar. And that's because you want the combination of the attack, or the counterattack speed, and the boost morale. You can't really use one and not the other on an aircraft setup. You kind of have to have both. If you have to use the smart skin and can't get boost morale from that, I highly recommend getting an Archimedes that you can like max out that genius. So perfect timing for this. That's for the Navar. For your Phalanx, you really can use anything. Again, you're not going to be living long enough anyway. So none of the Phalanxes really give you damage except for the Capricorn one. So if you magically have that, feel free to use it. The deflector armor, the skill isn't going to give you anything, so you don't even have to run the skill, but it will give you more accuracy, critical hit, and damage. So you can use it if you want to, but really anything works. So if you have it, like a cheap option is a Fire Rain, but you can go Super Phalanx. If you have it, the Capricorn one, Capricornus, I think it's called. So that's another good one. Planes is going to be dependent on your UAV. So if you're using this setup, you're going to want to use there's a couple different UAV options. Raider is a decent option. Charge is a decent option. The two ones that I will probably say that I would pick is either Blaze, and there's a specific plane set up for Blaze, or Phoenix. These are both spender options too, because you can't really get these for free. I think you can if in that event. It'll take you a while to get the whole set. You can get them for free. Blaze or Phoenix. For planes in general, for free, you're going to want to use Red Baron, Tu-95, and Venom. Yes, all three of these planes can be acquired entirely for free from shards, usually. And actually the Venom is currently, I don't know if it's currently, but it was for sale the last time that they used regular shards, or they had an event where they sold 6-star planes for shards. Venom was one of them. It was 500 shards, but it was free, and it wasn't super carrier shards. So you can get them. Sometimes you get lucky if you're a battle pass player. But that would be the recommendation for a battle pass player, and this is the free version. Spender version, slot 1. Where is it? Intruder, Ultra or Sky Split, the new 7-star seal, and Black Shark. Because you're there just to rip their warships apart. Worst case scenario, if you don't kill their carrier in one shot, worst case scenario, you neuter their planes, so their planes can't, or their warships can't do anything to you. And if, like I said before, they're using warship-based setups on dodge carriers because they have to protect their warships. And if you hit them and make sure they can't do anything, they're screwed. And then you just get to tee off on them as much as possible. You can just attack them a bunch of times. Oh, what did I do? Oh, there we go. Okay. All right. If you are using Blaze, it's going to do that again. I knew that. All right. If you're using Blaze, you're going to want to use Phantom Phoenix, Seal, Xeon. and you're gonna burn the living crap out of people. So that's if you're using that. Any of the others, you can use this for spenders, this for free players. Cyanic Zone, you know, basic, you know, you want your basic military geniuses, MacArthur, Miyamoto, basic guys. You still even want Genghis Khan. I can never spell this dude's name right. Nope, that's not right, but you know, you get the point. Genghis Khan, those are your UAV options, and that's pretty much it for a Helios build. I think I touched on everything there, guys, so hopefully this helps. This video actually is a little bit, it's a lot of it shorter than the Naix one. If you have any questions on why I pick certain things, or if I didn't touch on something enough, please let me know. But this is how I would personally build one. I think the probably UAVs are my favorite part of the things that they've added to this game, and you guys should definitely be trying to pick up all of those unique ones. Blaze, Phoenix, Sentry, JH7. They have amazing uses that people are nowhere near exploring the ends of. So hopefully this helped, guys. If you have any question, leave them down in the comments, and thank you for watching. Later.